السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
May Allah bless you. We are in Surah number 54, inching close to the end of the Quran. Thank you all for your patience and for your persistence in attending this class. I know that some of you joined us lately, but we had started in 2005 or 6, I'm not sure, but somewhere almost 20 years ago. So we are finished with ayah number 22. Again, as I mentioned, this is in Surah number 54. The Surah name is Al-Qamar, Al-Qamar. So in ayah number 23, which we are resuming from, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Thamud belied the warnings. They did not heed the warnings that were given to them. Thamud is the community of Prophet Saleh. Okay? They belied their prophet and they belied the message of their prophet Saleh, and they claimed that how could a human being from amongst us be the one that we should follow? And we are the group, we are the community. How could we follow just someone who happens to be a human like us? So, as if they don't know that all prophets that came before their community even existed, they were all humans. Prophets and messengers are always humans. So they said, a one person from the community will control all of us, and he even doesn't have followers, and he wants to make us all his followers? This is wrong. Something is wrong. This is mad. How could he do this? Their prophet, Prophet Saleh, he told them that Allah has brought this water up from the well for you, the community, but also for the she-camel. It looks like the community had one she-camel or distinguished she-camel, and he told them this she-camel came to you as a sign from Allah. This she-camel was very active, and she came out of, Allah created it from the belly of a mountain. So it's a miracle in and of itself. Okay? So they said, oh, this is a crazy she-camel, and how could we be second to it? Because he told them the she-camel will drink one day and everybody else will drink the following day, so that the water is enough for everybody. And they didn't like this. They said, no, we need all the water for us. They acted arrogantly. And they said no, and they conspired to kill this she-camel, and they violated the instructions coming from Allah, that the Prophet told them. He told them, this is Naqatullah, this is the she camel that was gifted to you by Allah. Don't harm it, don't injure it. So what do? They knock it down. And they told their Prophet, bring us whatever punishment you are warning us of. Bring any punishment. So Allah brought them the punishment. So let us see the text. Here's ayah number 23. They say, this is, this is ayah 24. They say, should we only follow one human being from amongst all of us? And he has no followers? If we do, we are gone astray and we are going to be blazing in fire. So every people who reject the message, they invent their own logic to market their message in confrontation and denial of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they say, should we follow him? And the Quran answers and tells them, tomorrow they will know who is the flagrant liar, because they said about their prophet, he is an open liar. He fabricates lies. So Allah answers and says, tomorrow they will know who is a fabricating liar. Okay? They claim that he has no revelation, he has no message, he is only a liar. Then Allah says, tomorrow you will know who is a liar. And he said, we are sending the she camel as a test for them. So hold on to your patience and watch what happens to them. And tell them that the water of the well in the village is divided, and every group will have their own time for drinking and watering their sheep and other animals. So they called the worst one amongst them, the most rebellious one, the bully of the community, if you will. And he started a discussion with them, and they agreed that they are protecting him and they are sending him to knock down the she camel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in ayah number 30, so how did they find my torment and my warnings? Did they come to pass? And he sent them one shout in the whole community, and they all were demolished, as the ayah describes them, saying that they all became destroyed as if they were nothing. They became all destroyed by one blow, one shout, and nobody could defend them. We sent against them only one mighty blast, leaving them like the twins of fence builders. Do you know when you have a fence of straws, right? And those straws got bent, that's all what they became, which means they were destroyed into small pieces. And that was their end. You see, an entire ummah, an entire nation, an entire community could be destroyed with one blow one strike, and they are all gone. So in ayah number 32, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and we have made the Quran an easy reminder. Is there anyone to remember? Is there anyone who wants to be mindful of Allah? The ayat of Surah Al-Qamar will continue to give us short snapshot stories of various communities. And as you see, in few ayat, small sentence each ayah, this community was finished. This is the display of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a show that when Allah wants to do something to an entire community or an entire nation, it is so easy for him. It doesn't take more than a two-letter word, be, and that's it. Be gone, and it's gone. Or be destroyed. Or perish, and it perishes. It doesn't matter what power type comes against that community, they will have no defense against the power of Allah. Then the next ayah, ayah number 33, will talk about the people of Prophet Lut. Prophet Lut is the nephew of Prophet Ibrahim. He believed in Prophet Ibrahim, and he was given prophethood to guide his community. Okay? So the ayah says, the community of Lut belied the warnings that came to them from Lut, Prophet Lut. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we have sent against them a storm of stones from the sky, except for Lut's followers. Prophet Lot, Allah saved him, and he saved members of his family that believed in him, and members of the community who believed him. But the pellet storm that came from heaven, it destroyed the entire community. Furthermore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the angel who scratched by his wing the earth, the surface of the earth, and lifted up the entire crust of the earth of the town and took it up to heaven, and he flipped it upside down and he threw it down back on the earth, destroying anyone who was left after the pellet storm or the stone storm that came against them from heaven. And he saved, as we mentioned, Prophet Lut and his followers and members of his family who followed him and believed in him. In ayah number 35, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is a blessing from ours, meaning the saving of Lot and his followers. Okay? They were saved. It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and this is how we reward whoever is grateful to Allah. So here is the remark that we should take lesson from, that if we are grateful, Allah will save us from all harms that may befall a community that we belong to Even if the entire community is disobedient, but we are grateful to Allah, Allah will save us. And He will save everyone who is grateful. So one has to take lesson from this. In ayah number 36, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and we have given them warning of our impending punishment. But instead, they started to argue and dispute about the warning. Is Lot telling us the truth? Is he playing scare game to us? Is he really a prophet? In their argument, they denied him and they belied his warning. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them a double whammy punishment. On the one hand, He sent a stone storm against them to destroy them. And in another section of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that those stone pellets that were thrown against them, raining from heaven, they came marked with everybody's name. So every stone was marked by the person the stone will hit and kill on the spot. Talk to me about smart guns and smart bullets and smart missiles. This is Allah's level of smartness. It's by name. It is individualized punishment. But beyond that, the double whammy punishment was that the angel would pick the crust of the earth of the whole village, pull it up to heaven, and will flip it upside down and throw it on top of the people that used to deny their prophet and the warning of their prophet. So the people of Lut were finished by this double whammy punishment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us what they did. They started to negotiate with Lut when a group of angels were sent to him in the form of men. And his wife, who was not a believer, she spread the news that a fresh group of men just came into the village and they are coming to visit my husband. So she was taken with the whole village because she was a disbeliever like them, and she was helping them commit homosexuality. This is the village that was called in the Torah Sodom and Gomorrah, two adjacent villages that used to practice homosexuality. Their men will go into their men, and Lot objected to that because it was judged as abomination and immoral to abandon regular normal marriage and to establish men as the object of the sexual desires instead of marrying women, which is the norm of human race up until that point. Prophet Lut told them, you are committing obscenity, something abhorrent that nobody ever before you has done this. And they denied him. And they started to say, didn't we tell you, Lut, not to intervene between us and people? Leave us alone. We want these men to come. We want to enjoy them. And Lut was afraid for his guests. So he told them, Don't you have a wise person, wise individual to heed the message and to avoid and protect you from this awesome punishment that will come to you? They refused. Then the angels told him, listen, Prophet Lut, we are angels from your Lord. We are not human. They will never get to us, and they will never get to you. And we want you to follow the directions we tell you. Take your followers, whether they are members of your family or others, take them and walk down out of the village overnight, because the punishment coming for these guys is coming in the morning. This is their appointment. So walk out and don't you look back. None of you should look back, except for your lady. They didn't call her your wife, even though she was his wife, because a prophet should never be married to someone who is rejecting his message and belying his instructions or cooperating with the disbelievers. I got a message saying that this session will end in 28 minutes. I don't know. Maybe it's my phone message, but that's okay. Forget it. Let's continue. So they tried to get access to the guests. The guests told Lut, don't be afraid. Don't worry about us. Just move. You and your followers, all of them, out of the village overnight. Don't look back. Okay? And leave the village alone. Their appointment with the punishment is in the morning. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shut down their eyes. They cannot see. The village people who belied the warning, they could not see, which means they became blinded. So they didn't see Lut moving with his followers outside the village. And that was one level of torment. And the ayah number 37 raises a rhetorical question saying, we have covered their eyes, so let them taste my torment and witness my warning. And in the morning, they were received by a stagnant type of torment, meaning not a hail rain, but a stone storm coming from heaven. And it was not moving. It is not like a rain cloud where the cloud carries the rain and moves out of the area. No, that was a rainstorm of stones, and it was standing above the villages, the two villages. Then Allah again says, let them taste my torment and witness my warning, which means that was their end. So another community, in few short sentences, we got their story summarized, and they're punished, and they are finished. You see how easy it is for Allah to punish an entire community or an entire nation. And Allah shows us similar signs so that we do not belie and we do not become complacent even when we see the signs of God, the punishment of God. When we see a hurricane, when we see a tornado, when we see a twister sweeping over an entire state or more than one state, we should never take it lightly. We should ask Allah for forgiveness. We should ask Allah for protection. We should ask Allah for His mercy. We should submit. We should go on our knees and with our forehead on the floor in prostration and ask Allah to forgive us from His torment. Then ayah number 40, it comes again, the same repeated text. And we have made the Quran as an easy reminder. Is there anyone who wants to be mindful of God? Is there anyone who wants to think and reflect? Is there anyone who cares about the warning? Do you know when the people of Ad, the community of prophethood, when they saw the clouds coming with the punishment, they thought this is a seasonal type of rain. It's our normal rain. They didn't know what the clouds were carrying. And the clouds were carrying their finish line. It finished their life. So when we see heavy rain coming, or a storm coming, or a hailstorm coming, or a hurricane, or dark clouds, we should be mindful that these are the tools that Allah used to destroy entire communities before. When we see an earthquake, when we are warned about a volcano eruption somewhere, we should not take it as something usual. No, it is not usual. It is unusual. We are in Surah number 54 for the brother or sister who is asking. We are in Surah number 54. And we are moving from ayah number 39 and 40. We are moving to ayah number 41. Ayah 41 will give us also a snapshot in few ayat about the community of Pharaoh, Pharaoh of Egypt, the king at the time of Prophet Moses in Egypt. So ayah number 41, it says, and the warnings have come to Pharaoh and his community. They belied our verses and our signs, all of them, and we have taken them by the mighty, able one, referring to Allah. So look at this. In 2 verses, Allah summarized the lives of God knows how many thousands of people were drowned with Pharaoh. They kept tormenting people, enslaving the children of Israel, enslaving their women, killing their children, and their community became really oppressed and tormented by Pharaoh. In 2 verses, Allah mentions that they belied, they got them the message, and they belied the warnings and the signs, and Allah took them out. Finished. A whole community drowned under the water of the sea. This is a king who used to say, to me have you not seen that I own this entire land of yours, and all the rivers are running underneath my feet? What was his punishment? Allah made him run with the chariots and the soldiers and the horses and the spears and the swords after Pharaoh, after Moses and his community. And they were so certain that nothing will happen to them. So Allah opened the Red Sea for Moses and his community to cross, and they walked in front of Pharaoh and his soldiers. Moses' community walked on the bed sea. The seabed was underneath their feet. The water was shifted to two sides, parted ways like mountains of water on each side. And Pharaoh looked at this, and because of his tyranny, he was blind at heart, and his eyes were not helping him. He thought that the sea will continue to hold the water away for them, for him and his community to also cross after Moses and to catch up with Moses. The community of Moses, when they were stuck, Pharaoh and his soldiers were there behind them, and the sea was in front of them. And they said, "We got caught. We will be finished." And Moses said, "No, Allah is with me, and He will guide me how to behave." And Allah told Moses, "Hit the sea with your stick." And the sea was split into two mountains of water on two sides. And what happened is the sea obeyed Allah and was split. Moses and the rest of his community were able to cross on the seabed as if it were never wet. And as they crossed, Pharaoh started to cross behind them. When the community of Moses reached the other side of the bank of the sea, Allah ordered the water to go back, and for these two mountains of water to crush Pharaoh and his community under the water. All of that story is mentioned to us in one single ayah. They belied the message, and we took them out. The Mighty One, Allah, took them out. Then ayah number 43, it rebukes Pharaoh and those communities who are denying the message of the Prophet, telling the pagan Arabs in Mecca who were standing against the Prophet, "Are your disbelievers better than those communities? Or do you have something written of a promise to you in the previous scriptures that says that the Meccan pagans are beyond Allah's reach, or no punishment could come to them? Or are you saying that we are too many to be defeated? Are you, the disbelievers of Mecca, do you think that you are too many to be defeated? That you will be victorious no matter what?" Then ayah number 45, it says, "Your gathering, your community will be defeated, and they will be on the run. They will turn back on their heels and run away. They will be fleeing." Ayah number 46, it says, "Nay, the hour is their appointment, and the hour is even worse and more bitter." bitter. It will be sour in your mouth and in your nerve. When the hour comes, it will be worse punishment than what you think. Then ayah number 47 takes everybody to the day of judgment. It says, the criminals will be in nothing but loss and a blazing fire. On that day, they will be drawn on their faces in the fire, and they will be rebuked. They will be rebuked, and they will be told, taste the blazing fire. They will be told, taste the touch of hell. This is what they will be told, because by then they will have no power, no helpers, no assistants, no servants, no allies. They will discover that all what they relied on are lies, not allies. They cannot rely on them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then in the following ayah will talk to the human race, the audience and the readers of the Quran. The audience and the readers of the Quran, when they read ayah number 49, it will give us some facts about the power of Allah. It is not only the power of destruction or the power of control, but it is also the power of creation. So it says, we have created everything in due measures. Everything has due measures. Humans, animals, birds, insects, every living thing and every non-living thing is created in due measures. The earth that we cannot wrap our head around yet, as huge as it is created in due measures. Everything is measured. The water is measured on the surface of the earth. The earth crust is measured. The earth core is measured. The composition of minerals and elements inside the earth, whether they are in the surface or in the core, all are created in due measures, in due proportions, with certain qualities. The gold has qualities that's different than diamond. Diamond has qualities that are different than iron. Iron is different from copper. Copper is different from mercury. Everything comes in due measures with certain qualities. There are certain things you can manipulate, and there are certain things you cannot manipulate. There are certain things you can control as humans because Allah made them of qualities that you can manipulate, control, reshape, and re-engineer, if you will. So you can take certain elements and make a composite byproduct that is different from the original input elements in it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us everything is created in due measure. In due measure also means, as I mentioned, with qualities and properties that are unique. So you can boil the water, but to melt the ice, you have to warm it. And when you warm it, it becomes water. If you boil the water, it turns into vapor. All of these qualities are meant for us to use these materials as gifts from Allah to employ and deploy and develop into beneficial things for us and for the next generations to come. But Allah is the creator. You see, part of the properties Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is the properties He gave to fire. To warm something in an efficient time, the shortest time, you need to put the fire from underneath it. So the fire in turn always goes up, because when you warm something, if it is liquid, then whatever is warm, it goes up to the surface. The warmest portion will go up to the surface. And as it goes, then the coldest part will go down to whatever bowl you are boiling the water in, whatever pot. So the fire takes the least time to get something to the highest temperature. We could not create the fire properties. We could not give water the properties. It's Allah. So the word in due measure also includes that everything has a time span. Any living thing has a point when their term of life finishes, including insects, animals, bacteria, viruses, huge animals, small animals, plants. Every living thing has a span of life, and it will die at one point or another. So when we look at plants dying because the earth is dry and water is not coming down from heaven, we should also think that Allah, if He takes water away from our community, we will not be able to live. And we have seen communities when the earth becomes arid and dry and the water is scarce, people start to move closer to other sources of water. This happens a lot in Africa, so that we can take lessons that everything is created in due measure. Now you understand how important the ayah number 49 in Surah number 54, how important it is. Everything has a span of life, everyone has a quality of life, and everyone has properties. Your skin has property different from your flesh. And your flesh that is under your skin has qualities that are different from your internal organs. Each internal organ is created from certain type of cells that enables that organ to function properly. So the creation is a very, very elaborate process. Only Allah can create. Only Allah can create. So this is ayah number 49. Ayah number 50, and we're coming to the end of the surah. Ayah number 50, it says, and our order, our ordainment, our command is nothing like but a blink of the eye. I will repeat. Ayah number 50, it says, after saying, we have created everything in due measure with certain specific properties, then Ayah 50, it says, and our command, our order, when we want to ordain a matter or decree a matter, it is nothing like anything more than a blink of the sight. Can you believe? As you blink your eye, Allah has ordered something to happen. Something big or something small, God knows. It doesn't take a blink of an eye. It doesn't take that much. It's less than a second. Again, going back to address the pagan disbelievers in the community of the Prophet in Mecca, it says, and we have destroyed your supporters. Are you going to be mindful then? We have destroyed your supporters. And everything they have done is recorded in the books. And everything small and large is recorded. And recorded here means in your book of deeds, in your book of records. Everything you say is recorded. Everything you refuse to say is also recorded. The intention behind what you say is recorded, and the intention behind what you refuse to say is also recorded. And you will be a witness against yourself. Your hands will be a witness. Your skin will be a witness. Your hands and your legs and your tongue will be a witness. Which means you are going to be shown in a video-like presentation. It reminds me that if we humans could record a human life from birth to death with videos and store them on a pinhead memory, why should it be difficult for Allah to record our entire life in a much smaller tool or in no tool altogether, and He can present it to us on the day of judgment? We will be exposed, committing the crimes we are committing. We will be exposed. Our pictures will show in motion, in action, what we were hiding in our hearts of intentions, conspiracies, desires, goals, fears, everything. Then ayah number 54, it says, the people who are mindful of Allah in this life are already in paradises in plural and in rivers, which means in a very blessed place in the hereafter. And then the last ayah, ayah number 55, it says that they will be seated in the seat of honor, at the seat of honor, in the presence of the most powerful sovereign, that is Allah. This is the end of the surah, and I would love to give you 4 minutes for your questions. I saw a message from one brother or sister who has a question. So please, if you could read the question for me or translate it.
Okay, I have a question. Salam alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam.
Just a little bit off topic. So, for example, if just 1 moment, brother. Let me just just 1 moment, brother. One moment. Let me just make this. Oh, thank you so much, sister. Okay, I'm sorry, brother Sulaiman. Yeah. So,
what is
for
red?
example, if somebody, falls, for example, and they get hurt, for example, if a man falls, would it be okay if a woman assists, or the opposite? This is a little bit off topic. Or if a woman falls, for example, and a man comes over, is trying to help. I know that it's not really permissible that men and women that are not mahram touch each other, but would that be permissible? Would Allah accept?
Well, thank you for the question. The answer is yes, they need to help each other, but only in a certain way. That is, they should not touch each other's skin. So if a woman, for example, is on the ground and she is pointing to somebody to help her, then a man could stretch his hand, his arm to her so that she can hold on to his arm and lean on him to stand up or to sit down. Okay? Of course, if there are other women available, the man should just let them do it. And the opposite is true. If an old man, for example, tripped and a woman wants to help him, she can stretch her arm to have him clutch to her arm to help him sit down if he was on his back, and to help him stand if she can. Okay? But they should not, as much as they can, they should avoid trying to touch each other's skin.
Okay, thank you. Jazakallah
Sure.
khairan.
Okay, we'll see you inshallah next week. We will be doing Surah number 55, which is Surah Ar-Rahman, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. السلام عليكم.
Wa alaikum salam.